Well, it's time again for episode number 5 of Vlogmas, and the title for this particular episode just happens to be Grandma. Grandma, I hope you guys are doing good. My name is Tommy Ellison, coming to you from Alabama, and this is my 5th day doing Vlogmas. I'm excited to say that I am caught up and can hopefully do one a day for the remainder of the month. Now, I've been looking over all of these things that I've been doing the last week and sharing with you the idea that these are actually memories of Christmas past, and today is no exception because there was an interesting thing that happened a number of years ago when my kids were younger, and I just thought I'd share it with you a little bit today, but I got to give you a little bit of the the backstory, as it were, on what was going on with this particular memory. And it was really all about a song, and it was a song about Grandma, and the name of the song was Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. And I would love to play this for you, but I can't, because I'm sure it's going to have some major flags waved with YouTube and probably Facebook as well. But it was recorded in 1979 by a couple in San Francisco by the name of Elmo and Patsy. And it was kind of an over-the-top tale of the holiday season and a hit and run that kind of brought a little bit of laughter and levity to many of the radio playlists that were up to that point in time, kind of being dominated by some, well, let's just say some comparably serious tales of Santa and Christmas. You remember Mommy, I saw Mommy. Yeah, I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus. Had a little bit of humor to it. And of course, there were more serious tunes like Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and all those were big staples on the radio playlists. But as soon as this tune was played on the radio, it became an instant hit. But unfortunately, only in some very limited markets where the record was being distributed. And a number of shock jocks around the country who got a copy of it, got their hands on it, started playing the song. In fact, one radio station played it for 24 hours straight on Christmas Eve. But, that's back when shock jocks kind of got away with a lot of things, trying to grab ratings from their local radio stations. And, speaking of local radio stations, we had a drive team, what would you call that? Morning drive team here by the name of Leighton and Charles. And these guys were the ones, believe it or not, right here in Birmingham, Alabama, that would bring about the burning of Beatle records. They called for Beatle records to be burned. If you remember when John Lennon made a claim in the media that they were more popular than Jesus. And so Leighton and Charles kind of was the genesis of the movement by these guys to bring people together to burn their Beatle records, burn their albums, burn their Beatle memorabilia. And it was kind of a trademark for jocks back then that did that. But even with the release of Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, there was actually one DJ in Des Moines, Iowa, who was fired from the station for playing the song 27 times in a row. Can you imagine what that was like? Well, anyway, the record eventually got picked up by an indie distributor in 1984. And of course, when that happened, it really started to skyrocket. In fact, it sold over 11 million copies in that 45 RPM format. So just to kind of give you a synopsis of the lyrics of the song, since I can't really play it for you, it's essentially a grandmother is celebrating at a Christmas Eve party with her family. And against what everyone tells her and advises her, she kind of goes outside in a blizzard. Unfortunately, though, she had had a little bit too much eggnog. And so as she's stumbling around in the blizzard, the accident takes place. She's found the next day, trampled over by Santa Claus and his sleigh and the reindeers. And of course, the burning question that's asked in the song is whether the family should bring, take back the gifts that they had bought for Grandma. And so, in fact, the answer was a definite yes. So, but meanwhile, Grandpa, seemingly unaffected by his wife's death, continues to drink beer and watches football and plays cards with his cousin Mel. And there were numerous parodies that were recorded over the years using this song as the basis of design, so to speak. There was one called Grandpa Got Run Over by a Beer Truck. It was released by the Yoopers in 1993. If you don't know what a Yooper is, that's someone who lives in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Yoopers, I guess. One radio personality recorded his own topical parody titled Osama Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Osama got run over. And then, of course, there was a famous writer who wrote parodies about country music. His name was Cletus T. Judd. And he would write these parodies mocking current country hits. Like, one of them was I Shaved My Back for This, if you remember the tune, I Shaved My Legs for This. And another one called I Love NASCAR, which I think was a Toby Keith parody when he released I Love This Bar. And then another one was called Every Light in the House is Blown. And he had an interesting one by the name of Tiger by the Tail, which was essentially a tale of Tiger Woods and his problems with marital situation. And of course, Cletus Judd released his own parody of Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer when he released the copy of Grandma Got Run Over by a John Deere. And there were some other parodies that included Grandma Got Molested at the Airport, Grandma Got Run Over by a Hybrid, and the song has somewhat become a holiday favorite for a lot of folks. In fact, it was a staple on MTV for many, many seasons in the form of a video. And of course, it's been incorporated into talking toys and musical greeting cards from Hallmark that when you open them, it would start singing the jingle, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. And a lot of young people today say it's just not really Christmas until they hear it. I know it's not Christmas for me until I see National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Are you that way? Leave me a comment. In fact, even the Apple Music Library contains multiple covers and sources for the old recording. And in fact, in 2007, two major media research companies did a survey on which Christmas songs they like and dislike. And in these surveys, the only song that reached the top of the liked list was Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. And believe it or not, the top song of the most disliked list was, you guessed it, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. So it won number one in two different categories, most liked and most disliked. Well, I remember this song, and you're probably asking yourself the question, why would I even bring this up? Well, the memory that serves me best about this song is that my two daughters hated this song. In fact, while we would be driving to church or to visit neighbors or relatives or friends, I would hear it on the radio, and I would start singing Meemaw Got Run Over by a Reindeer, because it poked fun at them, and also we always called my mom Meemaw. Actually, that was her preference, not mine, but that's what the girls called her, Meemaw. And I would sing it. Meemaw got run over by a reindeer, and they, believe it or not, would cry just big old crocodile tears every time they heard it. They were like 6 and 4, I guess, when they first heard the song. And they'd say, "Daddy, Daddy, please change the station." Well, they're now grown women, but to this day, they still refuse to listen to that song. I can remind them of it and start singing it to them, and they will always, always more or less put me down and say, "Hey, would you mind not singing that song?" Well, this is my memory for the evening, called Grandma. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will come back and see me later in episode 6. I'm not going to tell you what it's all about, but as you know, it's always a little wild and crazy when you come to my Vlogmas episodes. You have a great evening, take care, and we will see you soon.